Kidnapper in a small town. Hi everyone, are you ready to hear one of the scariest and most impressive horror stories based on real and true events? If yes, it means that you're definitely in the right place. There's one very old, small, but nice town. It doesn't consist of an enormous number of ideally comfortable conditions, but despite this fact, its inhabitants are very kind-hearted and hospitable. Among town's key destinations are the buildings of the government just in its downtown area, school, 2 grocery shops, 1 mall, a huge market, factory, and a few farms not far from it. Within many years, locals lived rather well in that town. Families were spending time in nature, enjoying breathing fresh air, watching marvelous and eye-catching views, and feeling safe and sound. Life there wasn't dangerous at all. Although, not long ago, approximately in winter, children from 5 to 15 years old unacceptably started to disappear. And nobody was eager to figure out their locations, even due to the cell phones. The local police aspired to solve this crime. However, everything seems to be in vain. Nothing helped. Day after day, the crowds of worried, nervous, and deadly frightened parents gather near the site, shouting loudly and trying to expedite police actions. Our children disappeared. They went to school, some of them to the shops to buy some products and didn't return. Somebody robbed them, says one of the school teachers. Or probably not someone, but a group of murderers, shout one of the sellers from the local market. And you do literally nothing. What should we undertake? The young, not experienced police workers were free of any ideas. You don't want to understand us. This crime is really very comprehensive, and we are truly doing our best in order to find your kids and the villains, no matter how many there are. But the government doesn't want to surround us with a larger brigade of workers. An enormous number of children disappeared, and here there are only 2 police workers. But we promise that we will find and definitely punish the guilty one. Police officers aspire to shout down the crowd of nervous parents. So why weren't you controlling the situation, allowing the problem to widespread day after day? Or the worker of the factory suggested. Apparently you are involved in these kidnappings. It is always said the guilty are the ones who usually unsuspected. The police officers started becoming angry. We're putting our best efforts in order to find your children, and you are accusing us of not keeping an eye on your children? Not keeping an eye? You're almost gone crazy. The police workers couldn't stand that crowd of parents anymore. Okay, right, we put our hands down and immediately moved to another police station. We can't work here anymore. This is impossible. Everything is impossible. In that second, the crowd became dreadfully angry, and the police officers were literally forced to run out of the station without taking their things. And from that day, they didn't go back there anymore. The city was left without the police. All the locals were in panic. Children were still disappearing for unknown reasons. Some parents were always controlling their kids, and when needed to leave, they locked them at home. And it worked. One day, two siblings, Han and Dan, aged 14, came to the small city to visit their granny. But frankly speaking, that was not the only reason. They live in a huge city full of various technologies. Suffice it to mention that parents are not in favor of boys' obsession connected with playing video games around the clock. Thus, they have decided to send the boys to that small town during the winter holidays. The thing is that the town is commonly free of innovative technologies, of course. There is an internet connection there, but not in their granny's small house. Han and Dan were completely against this sort of idea. Although when they came to the town and heard about the mysterious and often children disappearing, decided to figure it out, what was happening there. The siblings have always been reckless and fearless, and the fact of kidnapping didn't scare them at all. So, Hank asked his brother, what are we going to do first? I guess we need to find the way out of the locked house, Lynn says. Oh, surely. But I am about after that. Apparently then it's better to go to the left police station. I think we will find anything there. In addition, we will have an opportunity to use this internet connection. Perfect. Let's go right there. The siblings walked to the police station. When they entered it, the real mess was there. All the things were scattered in random order. I guess someone was here before us. There are no needed paper concerning this crime. Surely. And what about the computer? I think it's more possible to find something there. The boys turned on the device and noticed that in order to enter the account, it is firstly needed to enter the password. The smart boys were lucky that day because they successfully guessed the password. It was the day and the month of an International Police Day. Bingo! Now we will have an opportunity to learn more about this crime, locals, and the destinations. The siblings started to learn more about the town attentively. All the needed information was right in the computer. Apparently, the guilty one didn't guess the password. Finally, the siblings decided to walk around all of the city's destination and ask the people for an additional piece of information and suspicions. At first, it was rather difficult to gain it because nobody had seen those boys before. But then their plan started to work. Within the next few days, Hank and Dan were walking around the town's places. Among them were 2 grocery shops, 1 mall, a huge market, factory, and other destinations. Suffice it to mention that the boys found it strange that a majority of children disappeared on their way to school. Thus, they have at last decided to go right there. Apparently, the boys weren't mistaken with their suspicions. When they entered the station, almost no one was there. Hank and Dan were going towards the lonely corridors, hoping that would find someone who would be eager to help them. Are you looking for something, guys? The voice from behind was heard. You're having winter holidays now? That was a teacher's school. Probably she was securing the school. No, Mrs. Spark. Yeah, Spark. Actually, we're looking for someone who could help us with getting information. The woman was listening to the boys attentively. About what? Well, concerning the recent crime connected with kidnapping. The teacher didn't know what to say. Oh, guys. Probably I won't help you with that sort of things. I don't have children. Han and Dan were proceeding with their speech. But you teach the children and apparently have seen something. We have decided to figure out the guilty one. The teacher was about ending the conversation. Sorry, but her speech was suddenly interrupted. Mary, I've robbed old papers concerning the case. New police officers won't figure out the truth. Behind the teacher was standing her accomplice. There was a woman from the market. She worked as a meat seller there. The teacher started to laugh nervously. Molly, the thing that I'm currently having a conversation with those wonderful guys. The meat seller became speechless, but didn't get confused. In a split second, she grabbed the vase, which was standing right in the window, and started getting closer to Han and Dan. The boys decided to run, but right in front of them was a teacher who immediately put the gun out of the pocket. They have no chances to escape. Dan whispered to his brother, "Run." Suddenly, Molly hit him on the head with a vase. Han aspired to run, but in a split of a second, a muffled shot sounded. The boy also fell down. When Dan woke up, he was in a dark basement. He tried to turn around hoping to see his brother, but he didn't find Han at all. The boy started shaking, trying to break free from the chains with which he was wrapped. "You don't need to look for your brother. He's dead," said the teacher. Han couldn't believe that. He was almost in shock. "It's you! You kill your own child and other ones. But for what?" "What a smart boy," the teacher said. The crazy smiles appeared on the women's faces. "For money. Surely for money. In order to sell a meat, of course," said another murderer. The boy became speechless. In a few seconds, the teacher was already behind him. She tightly gripped the chains around his neck and unceremoniously strangled him.